action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here with another TNI news video. Now today's video is actually not going to be your standard news video like you normally see from me. Today I'm only going to be focusing on one specific topic that I would consider to be somewhat newsworthy, something that is affecting the collecting community, mostly in regards to those that collect things like Jurassic Park. But this is something that might have ramifications that go out beyond that. So I wanted to kind of inform you on what is going on, and then I also want to share some of my own insight on why this is likely happening. I'm seeing a lot of people chime in on this who I don't think really know what's going on or why these things happen. Now, one thing I do want to note and be absolutely clear, I'm not a lawyer, okay? I'm not giving anybody here legal advice. I'm sharing my own thoughts. So nothing I say here should be considered legal advice in any way. But again, I've been covering this industry for 20 years. I've dealt with all of these toy companies over the course of that time. I've had to deal with similar issues as the one I'm about to talk about. So I feel like I'm somebody who's uniquely qualified to share some insight on why this is likely happening. Now, I haven't talked with Mattel, which is the company involved. So it's not like I'm giving you verbatim why this is happening, but based on my experiences, I'm going to share my thoughts on that. But first of all, let's get into what exactly is happening. So over the weekend, apparently Mattel started issuing some copyright dings on a couple of different people who, again, focus on covering Jurassic Park stuff on their various social media platforms. So specifically YouTube and Instagram. Now, the first person is one that I've heard of before. I've seen, we've reposted some of their stuff on our site for news. They go by the name Collect Jurassic. Now, I don't know the guy personally. I've never met the guy who runs the site and the channel and all that personally. I did talk to him briefly yesterday on Twitter, but I don't know him personally. But I am aware of him. Whereas the other guy that I've heard has gotten some copyright dings, Andy's Dino Reviews, I've never heard of before. So I know very little about that situation, though from what I understand, his YouTube channel has actually been completely taken down. Again, for copyright dings, I'm assuming because he was posting reviews of some of the product in question. So what is the product in question? So specifically, it's in regards to Jurassic Park toys based on the upcoming movie. Now, these, as from what I understand from Collect Jurassic, these were not obtained in some illegal way. It's not like they bought these from somebody who snuck them out of the factory or something like that. These apparently went up for sale on an online e-tailer by the name of ToyWiz, who is an e-tailer that has been around for a long time. Now, I'm aware of ToyWiz, but I've not had a whole lot of personal dealings with them. I think years ago they were a sponsor on TNI for a very brief time, but again, I've had very little dealings with ToyWiz, and I've never purchased any products from them. So I don't know how they obtain these products. I don't know why they felt they could start selling them when clearly there was probably some type of embargo on them from Mattel, being that we haven't even seen a trailer for this movie yet. It's pretty it's a pretty good bet that they weren't probably supposed to be selling these products. And again, I don't even know how they already have these products in hand, though with all the shipping problems and movie delays and stuff. It's possible a shipment came in early and maybe they just missed the embargo or something. I don't know. But they bought these products from this e-tailer ToyWiz, and then of course they went and made reviews and posted pictures of the stuff. So when that happened, Mattel sent out copyright dings, likely from Mattel's legal department. You have to keep in mind, Mattel is this huge company with very, segmented departments. Everything from legal. I mean, every brand has its own little group of people that are supposed to be in charge of PR these days. You have the individual brand teams and all that. So first of all, it should be important to note, it's not like it's the Jurassic Park brand team members who went out and had this guy's channel, these copyright dings issued. They had probably absolutely nothing to do with that. This was likely all done through the legal side. And why this happened and why it happened this way is likely because Universal Pictures probably got involved. They are the ones that hold the license for Jurassic Park. They're the ones that essentially have allowed Mattel, which is a very lucrative license, especially with a big movie coming out here in the very near future. That's where a lot of money, that's where these toy companies make a lot of their money. And just to be blunt with you, not from you guys, okay? It's the kids and the parents who probably have never heard of Collect Jurassic or Andy's Dino reviews before in their life. They're the ones out there buying these products, and they're the ones that are making the money for a company like Mattel. That's just the reality, especially with a line like Jurassic Park. That's just the reality of the situation. Now, as I talk about this stuff, I'm going to impart some pieces of advice to you, as any aspiring YouTuber or toy reviewer or influencer or news journalist, whatever, in regards to action figures, which you're perfectly willing to ignore. But again, I've covered this stuff for 20 years, so you might want to listen to what I have to say. So, number one thing when dealing with any of this kind of stuff is you want to be very careful anytime you are posting anything that is related to a movie license, a new movie license, especially a movie that like we haven't even seen a trailer of. That stuff is always very popular. If you want to get a lot of traction as far as views or what have you, that kind of news or whatever is generally again very popular because people want to see the next thing from that big movie. But the risk is also very high when you start posting that kind of thing, because there's nothing that gets the lawyers out quicker than posting something that has potential of spoiling one of these big blockbuster movies. Especially if it's an image. If you're posting a picture or of a toy that's leaked out that has a big spoiler, or again set photos or what have you, there's a much higher risk that you're going to end up getting contacted by some type of lawyer because of that. So just note that. Okay, so anyway, getting back to this Jurassic Park situation. So likely what happened is Universal Pictures got wind of this stuff getting out. So, of course, they're going to go to Mattel because it's Mattel's products that's getting out there into the wild, and it's, has having the potential of spoiling the movie. So they go to Mattel and say, "You better get this stuff off the internet ASAP." And of course, Mattel is going to jump too because, they are relying on Universal to not only give them this license, but probably future movie licenses as well. They don't want to jeopardize their relationship with Universal Picture. And again, there's a lot of money involved with these things. So, much more money than anything that you guys would possibly be making for these companies. Again, I don't want to be, sound like, you guys are meaningless or whatever. And again, I put myself very much in that same boat. But the money that's made from these big box office licenses is far greater, exceeds what anything you might be generating for these companies in the way of free advertising. Okay, so a lot of money involved. You've got the license holder coming to you and saying, "Get these off ASAP," and if you don't, I mean, I don't know what they exactly say, but I imagine it's not good. So right off the bat, essentially Mattel is getting in trouble for this stuff having gotten out there, because at the end of the day, I don't know how it got out there, but it was really Mattel's responsibility to make sure that stuff did not get out there. And obviously they failed in this particular case because the products got out there early. So they're probably in some fashion or form, either getting yelled at or, getting in trouble in some way for this stuff having gotten out there. So that's something to keep in mind. Um, uh, you know, yeah, I don't know how much you care or what have you, but again, that's probably something that you want to keep in mind. So, of course, when Universal goes to Mattel, their first response is, "We better get this stuff off there ASAP." Now, in a perfect world, okay, what what I'm sure most of you are thinking should happen is Mattel should go out and contact that individual YouTuber and say, "Hey, can you take this down?" Lesson number two in all this, if you take away anything, if you ever get contacted by a company and they ask you to take it down, do what they say. getting back to this, so likely what happened is Universal Pictures probably contacted Mattel. Mattel then took action, the quickest action that they had, which was to essentially have their legal department scour the net using probably algorithms and bots and stuff to find the leaked material, and then immediately have it removed by going straight to the social media platform and having them remove it, which is basically them filing a copyright claim with the social media platform, which then takes their action to have it removed. Now, in the case of YouTube, YouTube generally gives you 3 dings and then takes your channel down. So in the case of the Collect Jurassic, I think this was their first ding, and so their YouTube channel is still up. That video was pulled down that had the reviews of these toys, but the actual channel is still in place. Now, if they got 2 more copyright dings, then they would probably find that their channel is removed permanently. And I believe that's what happened with the Andy's Dino review, is their channel has been removed completely. So I guess they had gotten 3 copyright dings. And I don't know if it's all for the same toys or what have you. But nonetheless, if you start getting copyright dings, you probably want to avoid posting any more of whatever it is you're getting dinged for. And if you have, like, if you got dinged for, like, say, one review, but you have other toys that are up there, get them pulled down as quickly as possible. Um, Again, unless you have lawyers that you can hire to pay and go fight it out in court, that's just my best advice to you. But anyway, so that's where we are with these guys. Is as far as their YouTube channels, Collect Jurassic channel is still up, but they got the copyright ding. Their video was removed. The other guy, their channel is essentially dead in the water now. Now, as far as Instagram goes, and this is where the Collect Jurassic guy has apparently been the most upset, is his Instagram page was basically removed. You can no longer access it. He can't access it. You can't access it. And I don't know how many followers he had on his Instagram, but I have a feeling that he probably put a fair amount of time trying to build that up as much as possible. And that's why he's upset that it's been removed. And I understand that frustration. Again, I've been in these circumstances before. I've had my YouTube channel taken down because of copyright dings. I can tell you a story about, I used to get trailers for things like upcoming episodes of the Clone Wars animated series sent to me via Lucasfilm for, essentially media purposes, and I would upload them on YouTube, not this particular YouTube channel, but a YouTube channel for the site. And so I would upload them, and then like a day later I'd all of a sudden get this copyright ding, and I ended up getting like these 3 copyright dings for materials that I was being sent to publish for publicity. But the reason why this was happening is that the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. The legal department at Lucasfilm didn't know that these were being sent out to members of the media. And so they were just scouring the net. And anytime something popped up, they would send out the copyright ding. And I had to, I got a little, I would always be polite and cordial when you're dealing with these companies. That's lesson number 3. Even if you're severely pissed off, you always got to be professional. You've always got to try and be, polite and, well, polite maybe a little, not quite the correct word, but professional. You always want to try and be professional. Don't sound like, don't be going off on somebody, even if you're pissed off. It's never going to turn out well. You're always better to approach it from, being cordial and explaining your situation. So after some time, they explained to me what happened, and eventually I got the YouTube channel reinstated. But stuff like that will happen all the time, where especially when you're dealing with these large companies and if you've ever worked in a corporation, you know what corporate mentality is like, and you probably can understand how things like this could possibly happen. But in this case, so in this particular case with the Mattel and the Universal, I'm sure they went to the legal department, and then the legal department started scouring the net for this leaked material. And then the quickest way to have it removed was to contact the social media platforms and have them remove it, as opposed to trying to find the owners of each of these individual social media platforms and then asking them individually to have it removed. This was the quickest way to get it taken down. And when, you've got somebody like Universal Pictures breathing down your throat saying, get this off now, you're going to take probably the quickest route, even if there's some damage control that's going to have to happen at some later date with the fandom or what have you. You're not going to jeopardize that relationship with the studio. So now where are things at? So Collect Jurassic had filed a dispute with Instagram and YouTube, I believe, but both of them were declined. Essentially, Instagram, or Meta, the parent company of Instagram, which also owns Facebook, basically said no. This is a copyright thing, and the copyright thing stays in place, and we're not reinstating your Instagram page. I'm speaking in regards to Collect Jurassic. Again, I'm not entirely sure what the Andy's Dino Review guy has done or not done. But with Collect Jurassic, he's posted on his Facebook page and Twitter and stuff saying that he tried to dispute it, and the dispute failed, and now he's trying to dispute it again. He's also said he's reached out to Mattel, but he's not heard back from Mattel. Now, the thing about that is he's probably reaching out to somebody in Mattel's PR. And one thing I will tell you about Mattel is they are not good communicators in any way. Trying to get any kind of information from Mattel is like pulling teeth. While Hasbro and other companies have their faults, I would say Mattel is one of the worst. So there's not great communications between the various departments at Mattel. So when he's contacting somebody, probably their PR, they're like, they have no control over what's happened. They're not going to comment. They're not going to say something that might get them in trouble. So they're probably just forwarding on his emails to somebody else, and it's probably going to end up going through like 5 different departments before it actually might get to somebody who could do something about it and have maybe fix the situation. Um, and I'm not ruling that that's a possibility. That eventually Mattel will possibly remove the copyright ding, as long as he's willing to not repost the material in question. That they would reinstate, basically remove the complaint with Instagram and have his Instagram page reinstated. That's definitely possible, but it's not going to be a fast process. I can guarantee. It's gonna, like I said, it's gonna have to go from like probably 5 different departments, and it could be weeks before he actually hears something. So, and I mean, and it's also possible. I mean, again, that Mattel just doesn't do anything. I don't know. I can't speak to that, but I think it's certainly at least possible that Mattel will end up allowing this guy's Instagram page to be reinstated. But it's not going to be something that I think happens overnight. So where does that leave things? Well, waiting primarily. Now, one thing he's done is he's put the word out of what's happened, and of course with that, essentially I don't know. I don't know if this was his intent, but this is definitely, when you do this, that's what happens. Is you're kind of trying to create this angry mob mentality to basically hound Mattel to reverse their course of action on social media. Everybody's going to tag Mattel saying, this isn't right, reverse this, yada, yada, yada. Now, I'm going to tell you that you see that type of thing where it can be effective with companies when you've got like hundreds of thousands of people chiming in and tagging a company or what have you. But that's not the toy action figure collecting. If he's had 100 people tag Mattel, he's probably lucky. And again, in the overall scheme of things, a couple hundred people is not really, it's a drop in the bucket. So I mean, it's too late now. He's already done it. My advice would have been handle it internally, at least, try to, give it a few weeks. And then if they refuse to even acknowledge the situation, then you might take the course of action where you start publicly talking about it. But I would have given a lot more time for Mattel to correct it before kind of trying to paint Mattel in this poor light. Now, I'm not telling you, I mean, in the overall scheme, I don't think Collect Jurassic did anything wrong. They did buy the toys from an online e-tailer. It was their toys. They took pictures of their product. This is very similar to a situation I remember that happened years ago when the Force Awakens movie came out. And I believe it was actually Walmart that started selling these Rey figures that had the lightsaber. So at the time, Nobody realized that Rey was going to be the Jedi. We all thought Finn was going to be the Jedi. So this Rey figure having this lightsaber was this huge spoiler. And so somebody, bought the figure from Walmart and started taking pictures of it, and of course it started spreading around the internet like wildfire. And guess what happened? People started getting cease and desist notices from Hasbro. Again, I'm sure pressured by the studio to do this, to have the images taken down. People who found the figure at Walmart and bought it and took pictures, they really didn't do anything wrong, but it didn't really matter because the studio did not want that out there, and they went after Hasbro and said, you let this out there, you better take care of it. And they did, or at least to the best of their ability. The nature of this business, and I don't care if you want to label yourself as a fan, if you are making content and you're posting it publicly on any kind of regular basis, if you're doing that, you have to realize you are no longer just a fan, okay? We're all fans. You don't get into covering this stuff. You don't get into reviewing this stuff. You don't get into posting daily content about this stuff if you're not a fan, because it's just not a big enough demographic. There's not enough money to be made from it. It's a very small pond per se. And so all of us are fans, but you are going to be looked at beyond just being a fan if you are making content on a daily basis and you're posting it about companies, products, or what have you. Okay, that's something you should keep in mind if you're, again, going to try and do this kind of thing. So again, it's not fair. Life is often not fair. I'm not here to tell you that life is fair. I'm not here to tell you that who's right and who's wrong in this situation. I'm here to kind of try and explain to you why this is likely happening, and the dangers that you could face if you start getting into this stuff. But at the end of the day, I do hope Jurassic gets this straightened out, and they get their Instagram reinstated. And I think that's very possible once they get cooled down Universal Pictures and satisfied their need to have all this stuff taken down. They might take some steps to have this guy's Instagram channel reinstated. I don't know that. We'll have to wait and see, but I do think that's a possibility. But so that's it for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it down in the comment section below. And as always, stay safe out there, and until next time, I'll catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.